HCTV Sports is supported by the Hastings Public House. Memories made local.
First goal of the year goes for the Raiders.
Oh, beautiful shot there. Nicely done. Gets the pin. Oh, was that beautiful?
Onside kick, and it's recovered by Hastings.
And he's rung up for strike three.
Sublowy. Touchdown Raiders. Hello everyone and welcome to Hastings High School as we get set for a matchup here between the boys basketball teams of Apple Valley and Hastings. Should be a great one for you here tonight, some Friday night basketball. I'm your announcer Owen Ely on the call. Very happy to be back here after the girls basketball game, a hard-fought battle last night, just about 24 hours ago as we get through the starting lineups here for both squads. There we take a look at the Section 3-4A standings. There you can see nary a section game to be played at this point in the season. Obviously wide open. Hastings 1-1 overall. Apple Valley still looking for their first victory of the season. Obviously 2 games to 3. You have to figure that for the girls basketball game last night that the experience factor was in favor of the road team. Tonight the experience factor in favor of Apple Valley, but only by 1 game, as we'll get to the starting lineups here for Hastings. Started off the season on December 2nd with a 70-75 loss from this very high school against Big Lake. The following day on the 3rd, they were on the road at East Central, won that one 72-57. Apple Valley, like I mentioned, still looking for their first victory of the year. Started off on the 2nd. They lost at Chaska 57-70. Lost 4 days later to Coon Rapids 58-72. And then on the 8th, they lost to Stillwater 44-71. Kelvin Maher getting the start for the Raiders. Should be a very fun game tonight for many reasons, but the crowd is massive here tonight. The student section is probably sitting at about 50% capacity. Hard to find a parking spot here at the high school. People still filing in, and there is a look at the aforementioned student section. There's the quarterback, Danny Milner, and the rest of the boys hockey team showing some support here for the boys basketball team as both teams will take the court. Newton and Hannah on the tip-off. It's going to be taken by Hannah, corralled by Parker McGinnis. And we'll see what the Raiders can cook up here on their first offensive possession of the game. Maher for Lee Dean. Underhanded layup there, bouncing underneath the backboard. Apple Valley, and with their first offensive possession of the game. Tizazu off to the near side wing, air ball kept in bounds, and a nice recovery by Eli Ocharo on the assist to Cameron Hanna. Raiders bunching up on that far side, looking to drive in, passing it at the top of the key, looking to pass to the wing. That's going to be tipped out of bounds off of the hands of Nati Tizazu. You can see 23 Wyatt Krull checking into the game for the Eagles. Pass into that far side corner. Now into the short corner. Pumps up a shot. Back to that far side wing, a bounce pass down low. And just takes an unfortunate bounce for Kellen Newton and the Raiders. Eagles directing traffic. Mid-range jumper. Defensive rebound taken here by Hastings. Now Bernance up the court. Cuts to the inside. And we'll get an early whistle. And they'll call a foul on Apple Valley. The quick inbound for Newton. Thought about taking a screened three-point shot, a bounce pass off into that far side corner. No good, but the offensive rebound and the foul by Apple Valley. And that'll send Kellen Newton to the line, looking to get the first points of the night for the hometown squad. Cameron Hanna checking back into the game for Apple Valley, far and away the tallest player on either squad. And Newton 0 for 2 at the line on that trip. Spates passing it off into the corner. Three-point shot by Joseph Mitchell. Ball out of bounds in favor of the blue and gold. And there's a look at the head coach for the Hastings Raiders, Chad Fikema. Couple of quick passes, low post, stolen away by Romello Spates. Apple Valley on the prowl. Passing it off to that far side. McGinnis defending. Driving in, the shot no good. Hanna, offensive rebound, a quick little putback. Nearly stolen back the other way by Hanna. And a foul called against Mitchell. So 4 points, as we'll see Matthew Foss checking into the game. 4 points for Apple Valley, none for Hastings, but already 3 fouls for the Eagles, none for the Raiders. Off the inbound, a three-point shot. Another miss here for Hastings. A wrestling match breaking out on the court. Of course, we'll see that tomorrow. A long three-point shot. Another miss here for Hastings as they've just gone ice cold from the field to start the game. Apple Valley looking to extend the lead. Mitchell thought about taking a three-point shot, sends it off to that far side, back past the top of the key towards the logo. Three-point shot with a Hastings player crashing in. They'll steal it. That's Mitchell. Sends it off for his teammate Ocharo, driving in, some contact. It looks like that's going to be the first foul of the night on the Raiders. That's going to go against Newton. And there's a look at the head coach for Apple Valley, David Collier. Arcing inbound. Near side wing, driving in, McGinnis. Mid-range. Offensive rebound and another putback from Cameron Hanna. Really using that height to his advantage. Now the Raiders will drive in, double team. Solid defensive execution there from the Eagles. Back the other way in transition. Sends it off for Mitchell. Doesn't take a three-point shot this time. Gives it off to Ocharo. Now in that far side corner. Offensive rebound and another two-point shot for Cameron Hanna as that excites him. It's at least his third offensive rebound directly to a quick two-point bucket. I believe he has 6 of the 8 points for Apple Valley. There's a look at the missed three-point shot, and then pretty hard to box out somebody of that stature. Well, not exactly the start that Hastings was hoping for. Down 8-0, just about 4 minutes into the first half. And we're not the only ones broadcasting here tonight. We got ESPN here at Hastings High School, so that's quite the catch. I don't know if Trent Hansen had anything to do with that, but definitely privileged to have that type of royalty here. So following the timeout, the Raiders try to get back to work here on offense. They'll strip the ball away from Owen Bernance. Hannah with the miss. And a quick stoppage. Looks like possession's going here to Apple Valley. Krull checking back into the game for Apple Valley. Mitchell, quick inbound to Krull. Short corner, driving in along the baseline. Tries to thread the needle on a pass to Mitchell, intercepted by the Raiders. Now Bernance off to a teammate, off the back iron. Up the court, Young, muscling his way through. Scramble for the ball, taken here by the blue and gold. Up the court, Bernance, underhanded layup doesn't fall in. And a missed put back there from Newton. And it looks like we'll get a timeout called on the court. It's going to be Apple Valley calling the timeout, and I have not been keeping track of the amount of possessions that the Raiders have had, but that's got to be more than half a dozen possessions that the Raiders have had offensively, and they've yet to put a point on the board, which would be a really good starting point for this team. Certainly a team that's capable of scoring a lot of points. I know it's obviously very early in the season, but you don't score 70 points and 72 points in your first two games by accident. There has to be a certain degree of offensive capability. We just are yet to see it tonight. Underrated view up there. Back to the action here. Apple Valley with the possession. Near side corner, back to the wing. Dangerous pass. They're going to say it went out of bounds off of number 30, Isaiah Ford. Full court press. They break the press. Bernance on Mitchell. Bernance driving into a double team, looking to pass out. Gives it for Koenigs. Three-point shot by Bernance. Unsuccessful on the call of travel on Mitchell as he was pulling up in the transition. Maher to inbound here for Hastings. And an ill-advised pass by Lee Dean. Now Apple Valley looking to make it a double-digit lead. Three-point shot, not enough mustard. Off in the wing, Mitchell, three-point attempt. And it's just that, an attempt, but a turnover right into the hands of Mitchell. Another open three. Another miss. The Raiders getting a defensive rebound. Helps when Hannah is not in the game for Apple Valley. Now Maher pulling back. Sends it off for Esterby. Koenigs off to Maher. Pass nearly intercepted, and they're going to say that's a foul on Mitchell as he got a little overzealous on that one. So under 12 to go here in the first half. Maher, the inbound to Bernance at the center court logo. Motioning some players around, gets it in for Koenigs. Bernance, dead center, bobble. Off to Esterby. Not a ton of motion here from Hastings, and a reach-in foul here from Apple Valley. That's going to be their 5th team foul. Only one foul for the Raiders, but again, 0 points as Kellen Newton checks back into the game. He'll line up on Hannah. Inbound, some smothering defense presented here by Spates. Foss driving in. Top of the arc, now off to the wing for Maher. Maher shuffling around, gets the pass off to Esterby. Esterby to Newton, dead center, 3-point shot, and that's the first point of the game for the Hastings Raiders, coming by way of a Kellen Newton 3-point shot. And actually, they're going to say that was a very long 2-point shot. But either way, the Raiders will take it, getting on the scoreboard here under 11 minutes in the first half, which certainly is a rarity. Couple of quick passes. The ball finds itself gravitating towards that far side for Apple Valley. An open pass down low, but a wide open miss by Romello Spates. Now Hastings looking to cut this lead. Maher with a hard pass, near side corner. Maher bounce pass, Newton, handoff to Foss. Pulls it back with a bounce pass to Newton. Top of the key, driving in the lane. And yet another foul by Apple Valley. Hannah not too happy about that one, trying to maybe plead his case to the referee. We'll take a look at the replay here. There's, I guess they're going to say his toe was just barely on the line there. We didn't have the greatest angle on the replay, but a questionable 2-point. And Hunter Pinkey can confirm the toe was on the line, so solid call there by the referee. Now here's Peyton Lee Dean, the junior, at the charity stripe. And he'll go 2 for 2. Now an 8-4 equation in favor of Apple Valley. Ford sends the pass off for Chamberlain. Chamberlain looks around. Open, uncontested 3-point shot. The miss, the offensive rebound. One-handed shot, defensive rebound taken there by Newton. Using all of his 6'3" frame, now trying to drive in coast to coast. The ball out of bounds and possession given to Apple Valley. It was Kelvin Maher trying to put the points in for Hastings. Young back in the game, same with Charo. So Charo, the ball handler, gives it off for Chamberlain. We have an Apple Valley player taking a spill. Another defensive rebound for Newton. Raiders up the court, looking to attack. An open 3-point shot, a make from Peyton Lee Dean, who has the last 5 points for the Raiders offensively. Now they pulled it within 1. very streaky offensive performance by both teams. It was Apple Valley who had gotten hot to start the game, and now they are ice cold in a bad way. On this little stretch here from the Raiders, there's a look at the three-point make from Lee Dean. Apple Valley lost possession there, so now it's Hastings with the ball in the bonus. 7 fouls in this first half for Apple Valley. Still only 1 for Hastings. Bernance staying patient. Drives to the left. Couldn't quite get the height on that layup. And we're back the other way. Ocharo falling down, gets the ball off for Ford, who can take the three-point shot. And now Newton is dominating defensive rebounds here with Hannah out, and we'll get a stoppage here with 8:19 in the first half. Romello Spates back on the court. And Eli Ocharo maybe tweaked something in that right leg, so that's definitely something to watch as this game progresses. We'll see if number 1 comes back, and number 1 for Hastings on the drive. Again, not enough height, but the rebound by Newton, who's just cleaning up the glass as the ball careens out of bounds. The possession is going to remain here with Hastings. Looking to take the lead for the first time tonight. Bernance driving in, sends it off for Lee Dean. A couple of quick passes back to Bernance. Tries to find some space. The offensive rebound by Newton stripped away. The steal here for Chamberlain in transition. Likely call against the Raiders here on Kyan Esterby. That's going to be his first foul of the game. It's going to send Kamare Young to the line for Apple Valley, trying to get their first points in several minutes of game time. Joseph Mitchell, the 9th grader, checking in for Apple Valley. Certainly has been a positive force for the Eagles thus far in this matchup. Here the Hastings students section trying to get a rise out of the free throw shooter, and to some success as he'll go 0 for 2 at the line. Still 8 points for Apple Valley. And so they called a foul here on Apple Valley. It's going to be on Jacob Shockley. And we'll have Peyton Lee Dean at the line. He has the last 5 points for Hastings. He went 2 for 2 his first time at the line. We'll get the solid announcer's jinx as he'll miss the 1-and-1. Pass off in front of the ESPN desk over there. Chamberlain to Mitchell. McGinnis on Mitchell, down to Chamberlain. A bounce pass. A little too handsy there was Bernance. Spates on the inbound. Apple Valley with the reset. Bounce pass off into the corner for Spates. Spates pulling it back. Mitchell maybe itching for a long three-point shot, and they're going to call a travel. It's a shot there of Kamare Young, the only other 9th grader on the squad for Apple Valley. 13, Evan Koenigs checking in for Hastings, giving them good amount of height. He's the tallest player on the roster at 6'4", an inch taller than Newton. Koenigs with the pass to Bernance. Turns it over. Apple Valley with tempo. Underhanded layup. Not enough height, and we'll get a whistle called on the court. It looks like Chamberlain is shaken up a little bit for Apple Valley, so that's a couple of players banged up already. Chamberlain and Ocharo, two of their guards. Parker McGinnis on the inbound, a defender defending on the full court, and he'll force another turnover. Apple Valley has done a pretty good job trying to force turnovers as the Raiders pull the ball up the court. So again, Apple Valley looking to score for the first time in maybe 6 or 7 minutes of game time here. It's a real defensive affair between these two squads here. Try to get the pass into Hannah. He'll fall down the Raiders with the recovery. Bernance lobs it up near side corner right in front of the Apple Valley bench. Cross-court pass. Driving in is Bernance, and he'll put that one in. Raiders taking the lead for the first time tonight with just north of 6 minutes to go in the first stanza. Apple Valley, three-point shot, and they'll regain the lead. Isaiah Ford on the connection. Ford now defending on Bernance. Quick pass sends it back to Bernance. Little bounce pass, Newton beyond the arc, off to Bernance. Screened three-point shot, and the Raiders regaining the lead. Or excuse me, they're going to tie it up there. They're going to call that a two-point shot, so 11 apiece with 5:20 to go. Open three-point shot, and Apple Valley relearned how to score here in the last 30 seconds. Three-point lead, and looks like Bernance will draw the foul. Here's a look at the three-point shot from Bernance. Nothing but net on that stroke. And here's Bernance from the line. And there's a look at the last three-point shot from Mitchell. Bernance 1-1 on that trip. One possession game as he'll take a seat on the bench. Couple of cross-court passes. Now Mitchell pumps up a three to no avail. Koenigs with the rebound. Maher with the bounce pass to Newton. Gives it off for McGinnis. Three-point shot. Takes an unfortunate Raiders bounce. Up the court, Young. And that's going to be emphatically blocked off into the track by the 6'4" Evan Koenigs. Foss in the game for McGinnis. Apple Valley, a successful inbound to the ninth grader Mitchell. Off for Ocharo, who's back in the game after a little bit of an injury scare. A three-point air ball. Now the Raiders back on the attack. Dead center, three-point shot there from Newton. A little more than 4 to go. A scramble for the ball. Some wrestling going on there. They're going to call a jump ball. Hannah back in the game for the Eagles. Certainly he'll have an effect that the Raiders will feel when he's on the court. And he's calling for the pass from Ocharo, but he's going to send it off to Spates, back to Ocharo. Apple Valley taking their time. Spates to Ford at the wing, now back to Spates near the logo. Ocharo calls over Ford. Trying to find an opening here with this Raiders defense. And this is getting the crowd into it here for the hometown Raiders. That pass intended for Hannah, blocked and stolen away by a couple of Raiders driving, and likely a foul there on Hannah as Peyton Lee Dean will head to the line. And here's a look at the third foul of the first half for Hannah. You foul out with 5, so that's certainly something to watch. Here's a real presence down low for Apple Valley. 3:13 to go here in the first half. The Raiders now in the double bonus. 10 fouls committed by Apple Valley, only 3 for Hastings. Lee Dean, I believe that makes him 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Tie game here at 14 all. Mitchell swings it over, far side, now in the corner. Spates, an arching pass. Back to Kamare Young. We'll switch sides here now in front of the Raiders bench. Apple Valley all of a sudden becoming fairly gun shy when it comes to pulling the trigger on some of these three-point attempts. Mitchell brings it towards the middle. Newton defending. And just better offense there by the 6'2" Kamare Young as Apple Valley regains the lead. Ford defending on Maher. Another steal here for this Apple Valley defense. The layup and the foul for Kamare Young. A chance for a three-point play. Now a 2-possession lead for Apple Valley as Lev Newton checking out of the game. And Young with the and one. Raiders up the court, and that's going to rim in favor of Bernance. 2 minutes flat to go here in the first half. Kamare Young defended by Bernance. Will swing the pass over to the near side short corner. A turnover for Apple Valley. Turns it over right back. It's Young. And graciously puts that one in. Fortunately for the Raiders, they don't foul. Now it's back to a 5-point lead for Apple Valley. A very tight pass on the baseline forces the turnover. That is definitely something the Raiders are going to have to clean up as Joseph Mitchell extends the lead for the Eagles. Owen Bernance with the 2-point response, and both teams just an offensive supernova here to finish the first half. Young working his way pass along the baseline in the short corner. Back dead center beyond the arc. 3-point shot missed. Maher with the defensive rebound and some contact there from Mitchell will draw the foul. So Maher now at the line to shoot 2. Max Chamberlain checking back into the game for Apple Valley. Looked like he was kind of shaken up a few minutes ago, so great to see him back on the court. Maher 0 for 2. Can't capitalize on the Apple Valley foul. Mitchell pulls it back for Young. Definitely one of the game changers tonight here for Apple Valley. Young driving right up the middle. Not enough height on that one, and a bit of a jostle there between a Raiders player and an Apple Valley player. There's Chamberlain and Peyton Lee Dean. We'll take a look at the sequence here. And Lee Dean really wanted that ball there for Hastings. Time running out here on the first half as Bernance tried to juke out Mitchell. Drives in, creates a little space, passes it off. 3-point shot bounces off of the rim for Matthew Foss. Foul here on the Hastings Raiders is going to be the first of the evening for Evan Koenigs. Fifth team foul for the Raiders. Time for maybe one more offensive possession here for Apple Valley. We'll get the inbound, a full court press, and a swipe. That's going to be the 6th foul. First foul of the game for Max Albertson. First time we're calling his name on the broadcast here tonight. Shade under 5 seconds to go. They'll have to get the shot off here. And just a little bit too hurried was Joseph Mitchell. And we have reached halftime here from Hastings High School. We got a good one here. Second half figures to be something real exciting here. It's a 23-18 lead for the visiting Apple Valley Eagles against your Hastings Raiders. Apple Valley looking to get their first win of the season. The Raiders looking to get the season off to a positive start here. So we'll send it off to halftime again. Apple Valley 23, Hastings Raiders 18 here on HCTV Sports. everyone, and welcome back to Hastings High School as we get set for the start of the second half here between the Hastings Raiders boys basketball squad and the Apple Valley Eagles. At halftime, it was a 23-18 lead for the Eagles over the Raiders. And we'd like to thank Hastings Public House for sponsoring HCTV Sports. Hastings Public House, memories made local. Definitely not a bad place to go on a Friday night after a Raiders victory, if they can pull it out here. Of course, only down by 5, very, very manageable. Some things to clean up for Hastings, some things to watch out for Apple Valley. Certainly the fouls, I think they had 12 or 13. They stopped counting at 10. And Cameron Hanna, certainly one of the big 3 players, well, quite literally the biggest player, one of the big 3 for Apple Valley with 3 fouls. Just 2 more and he's out of the game, so it'll be interesting to see when they decide to bring him in. And, well, they're going to bring him in, looks like right away. But that's definitely something to watch out for because he is such a presence down low when he is in the game and using that frame. Nobody else on either side has that type of body. Raiders looking to win this one and start a little mini win streak. Apple Valley just looking to get on the scoreboard, on the standings with a win. And we're back to some action here in the second half. Spates with the pass to Hanna. Open semi-screen 3-point shot from Ford. Not going in the basket. Now we'll see the first offensive response here from Hastings. A lot of the defenders pulling pretty far out here for Apple Valley. Newton gives it to Maher, a little shimmy. Off the Lee Dean to Bernance. Back to Newton, 3-point shot with Hanna closing in. That one just kind of dunks in and dunks out coast to coast. And the first points of the second half going to the Apple Valley Eagles. 3-point response there from McGinnis. Falls out. Again, trying to go coast to coast. Ball blocked off the potential Eli Ocharo layup, so possession is going to remain with the road squad. Inbound from the baseline. Ocharo pulling it out towards the logo. Tizazu, number 11 there, back in the game for the first time in quite a long time for Apple Valley. Some rapid succession passes and a 2-point jumper from the short corner for Isaiah Ford, the junior. Driving in, number 1, Bernance, unsuccessful. Now number 1, Ocharo, brought the ball up the court. Raiders kind of feigning a double team defensively when the ball gets near those sidelines. Tizazu with a little feint on a potential drive-in. Now there's Hanna. Maybe not using enough muscle on that one. Misses the turnaround shot. Maher finding some space. A right-handed layup. And the first points of the second half for the Hastings Raiders. Spates in front of his own bench loses the ball. A little bit of panic ensuing between both sides and a missed shot from Maher. Second chance opportunity is good. Back to within 5. Isaiah Ford working his way to the far side, sends it off for Tizazu, misses it. Some contact from an incoming Romello Spates on Kelvin Maher. 3 minutes in, yet to be an official foul. There's the defensive steal there from the Raiders, which led to a putback there from Kelvin Maher. And they will call a foul on Apple Valley. It's going to be the first foul of the night for Romello Spates. Full court press, Raiders inbounding. Looking to cut this to a one-score game if they can work something here. Three-point shot airballed by Owen Bernance. Chamberlain brought the ball up. We'll get a whistle and a turnover on Apple Valley. So Maher to inbound in front of the Eagles bench. There's a shot of Collier, the head coach. Pass a little too hot for Hastings, and that will result in a turnover. Which has really been the number one issue for Hastings tonight. It's turnovers. Apple Valley, number one issue has been fouls. They've definitely played a cleaner game in the first 4 minutes of this second half. Good ball movement here from Apple Valley, and a three-point shot from Ford, who was heating up as a perimeter shooter. As this game goes on, Bernatz with the layup just kind of squeezed his way through a couple of Eagles defenders. Real choppy offensive swings from both sides here tonight. Ford, a pump fake on a three-point shot. Now Chamberlain with the pump fake sends it off into that near side wing for Spates. Now with the center court logo, Ford off for Tizazu. Tizazu, three-point shot. Offensive rebound from the guard. Max Chamberlain, only 5'10", manages to get that one, and a swipe on a block from Owen Bernance, and that's going to be the first foul of the second half for Hastings. And it will send Apple Valley to the line. There's the three-point shot from Isaiah Ford. And Jaden Cunningham checking into the game for Apple Valley. I believe that's his first appearance here tonight. And Tizazu, 2 for 2. Bernance pulling up near side. Look to swing a pass there to Newton. Instead, gives it to Lucas Foss, the sophomore. Checking in for the first appearance tonight. Down the baseline, Bernance, two-point shot. And the foul, it's going to be a shooting foul as Bernance is going to head to the line for an and one. First possession there for Cunningham. Going to be his first foul. And Bernance unsuccessful on the and one. Ford off to Hannah, turns it over. Now Maher splicing up the middle, passing it out. A quick pass from Newton. Three-point shot in front of the bench. Cuts the lead in half for the Raiders. As we'll have a timeout called on the court. Here's a look at the last scoring play. Couple of quick passes, and there's Bernance, leading scorer tonight for Hastings. And we'd like to tell you about our next broadcast. It's going to be, well, about 12 hours from now from this very high school. It's going to be a wrestling triangular between Forest Lake, Waconia, and obviously your Hastings Raiders. So got to get up early tomorrow if you want to see that one, December 10th. If you want to check out our full schedule, you can go to our website. Handful of quick passes. Chamberlain threatens with a pump fake. Tizazu puts up the shot, but there's going to be a foul called before, and that might be the fourth on big Cameron Hanna. Bernatz past the logo, and 22 and 22 there, wrestling a little bit for the ball off the pass from the guard, Bernatz. Bernatz in for Maher, back down to the inbounder, and that one rims in. Hastings pulling to within one. Mitchell with the dribble, the pass. Back to Mitchell. Arcing pass to Tizazu. Tizazu drives in down low near Hanna. A turnover. Hanna not too thrilled about that one, taking his time going up and down the court, but it's not going to matter as we'll get a traveling call on Bernatz. Apple Valley looking to stop the bleeding here on this offensive possession. 11.5 to go in regulation. Bounce pass in front of the bench for Jaden Cunningham. Swings a pass near the lane. Ill-advised three-point shot. The Raiders looking to respond. A bounce pass for Newton, who gets the underhanded layup off the glass. Raiders back in the lead. Growing dry spell here for Apple Valley. Very clean half between these two squads. Only 4 combined fouls in 7.5 minutes. Space closed off for Ocharo. Gets the pass off to Mitchell. Nothing but net on the tray, and we will get a timeout called on the court. 2-point lead for Apple Valley. Here's a look at the drive in from Bernatz with the assist to Kellen Newton. And we'd like to thank Hastings Public House for sponsoring HCTV Sports. Hastings Public House, memories made local. And there's a shot of the student section for Hastings, the boys hockey squad as well, who got the W last night on the road at Simley. I believe the final score was 3-1. 2-1. Excuse me, 3-2. I'm trying to read sign language here from Hunter. Either way, all you need to know is it was a Raiders win, which is what they're hoping to pull out here in front of this sizable crowd. It's going to be the third foul on Jaden Cunningham, all coming here in the second half. Bernatz looking to inbound. He successfully does so to Kellen Newton. Near side wing, Burnatz driving in, surrounded by 3 players. Kind of fumbled that ball there, but gets the steal, sends it off for a teammate. A 3-point shot, offensive rebound, taken by Maher, readjusts. And Apple Valley is going to force well, I was going to say I thought they forced a turnover, but possession's going to remain here with Hastings. We'll get the inbound to Maher. Bounce pass, low post, a missed shot from Newton. Couple of passes there, creating some space for Apple Valley. They don't capitalize on it. Kamare Young sends it off for Cunningham, who misses a 3-point shot. Now Burnatz's pass tipped out of bounds off of the hand of Kamare Young right in front of the ESPN broadcasting booth. There was Lucas Foss in the vicinity. Ball tipped out of bounds, and a foul is going to be called on Apple Valley. That's 2 rapid fouls. Now they're at 5 team fouls here in the second half. Only 1 for Hastings. Although it is the first foul on Kamare Young, so certainly not in foul trouble at all. One of the go-getters for this Eagles team. Long 3-point shot. No good. Defended nicely there by Eli Ocharo. Young off to Ocharo, and he'll airball a 3-point shot. Possession to the blue and gold. Isaiah Ford checking back in for Apple Valley. That'll figure to help them certainly offensively. He's arguably been their best long to mid-range shooter here tonight. And actually possession here to Apple Valley. Ford puts up the 3-point shot. Rebound Kellen Newton. Up the court, Burnatz. Ball going to the Eagles. That's really most of this Raiders offense here in the second half. Point guard Owen Burnatz driving in and trying to put up a layup. Mitchell sends it down low. Wide open Ford, and the closing Burnatz couldn't get the block. Now a 2-possession lead for Apple Valley. Maher tries to get it down low to Newton. It's going to be off the hands of Kamare Young. Peyton Lee Dean back on the court here for Hastings. Newton checking out. Pass to a screened Burnatz, tries to find some space, motioning down low to the baseline. A left-handed, underhanded layup is no good, but the foul going against Apple Valley, and that's going to send Matthew Foss to the line. Just a 9th grader. One of 2 9th graders on the JV squad. And he'll go 2 for 2 at the line. 2-point lead for Apple Valley as we'll get a timeout called on the court. there's a good shot at the track. Certainly a lot of Apple Valley faithful making the trip out here to Hastings. So back to the action, 8.5 to go in regulation. Apple Valley trying to reestablish their lead. Young with a long pass for Ocharo. Ocharo off to Ford. Momentarily thought about taking a three-pointer there. Mitchell with the bounce pass. Gonna call a kicked ball. It's going to stay here with the Eagles. Couple cross-court passes. Now chest pass there to Ocharo. And a foul is going to go against Hastings. It's Matthew Foss. So here's Ford with the quick inbound to Jacob Shockley. Shockley, the hard pass to Ford. Nobody covering Ford. This is a three-point shot. Raiders back up the court, trying to take the lead, and they will. 38-37, three-pointer there from Owen Burnatz. Apple Valley trying to get the momentum back, moving the ball around. Joseph Mitchell really taking an extended look at the rim there, and will jack up a three-point shot. Raiders with the lead. They've had the lead a couple of times tonight, haven't really held on to it for very long, so we'll see if they can hold on to it for more than a possession here. Nearly a turnover there on Peyton Lee Dean. And that pass going for nobody. Maybe a miscommunication on that one, expecting a cutter. But there's a look at the transition three from Owen Burnatz. So once again, Apple Valley looking to retake the lead here. Ford, number 30 there, definitely a player to watch on the perimeter, and he'll shoot the three. No good. The offensive rebound, but they can't capitalize on the second chance opportunity. That was Romello Spates kind of mossing at a defender there for Hastings. Now Burnatz trying to put Mitchell on skates. Burnatz driving in on Mitchell, puts up a tough angled shot, and as he had Kelvin Maher in there to try to almost alley-oop that one in there off of the missed shot. That one intercepted, intended for Ford. Back up the courts, Burnatz turning around, spinning off to a teammate. A tough mid-range jumper from the elbow. Falls in for Hastings. We'll have a handful of players checking in now for the Raiders, including Newton, but here's a look at the scoring play. The assist, Burnatz to Peyton Lee Dean, two best sharpshooters for the Raiders. Kyan Esterby back into the game, I think for the first time here in the second half. Lucas Foss back in, trying to give some muscle to the lineup, and that's Foss driving in, using that muscle. Only 6'1", but that's one big forward. Lead slowly but surely growing here for Hastings. They'll force a turnover, steal. Kelvin Maher up the court, and I think they're going to get a foul here on Romello Spates. And they will. So now Hastings has entered the bonus. 7 fouls for Apple Valley, only 3 for the Raiders. 5:22 to go. 5-point and growing lead here for Hastings. with Kelvin Maher at the line. He'll be here for a 1-1. And it's going to be a one and done as he misses that first one. Cameron Hanna back in the game for Apple Valley in pretty significant foul trouble, but got to play to win the game at this point. Ocharo with the pivot off for Tizazu, who's back in the game for the Road Eagles. And they're just taking a good long look here at this Raiders defense, trying to get a look they like. Tizazu bounce pass near side Cunningham. A jumper from the free throw line. No good. And a foul on the court, and that's going to be Cameron Hanna, and you can see the look on his face of disbelief. And that's going to be his fourth foul, so one more, and he's going to be kicked off the court. You know, being a big player like Hanna, you know, certainly helps to have that size, but I would venture to guess that the refs don't always take his side on some of these fouls, just given the size. You know, if all things are like in baseball, the tie goes to the runner. I feel like in basketball, it's just kind of human nature. The tie goes to the smaller guy, and you know, maybe that kind of working against Hanna to some extent. So we'll get a timeout here. 4:33 to go. 44-37 game with the Raiders in the bonus, trying to pull out their second win of this young 2022-2023 campaign. They got one more game at home on this little homestand here. It's going to come on Tuesday, December 13th against Hudson. We'll be here to cover that one. Then they'll take a short road trip up to Park on the 15th. They'll have a two-game homestand on December 20th and December 28th against Woodbury and Irondale. And then that's going to do it for the 2022 season. And then they're going to get right at it in January on the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th against St. Thomas Academy, and then on the road at Tartan and Northfield. So 4 of their next 5 games coming from this very high school. It'd be nice to kind of get this quasi-home stand off to a W. Shot of the beautiful scoreboard there. Both teams now taking the court. Apple Valley with possession, just trying to get any sort of points here to mount a comeback. Certainly plenty of time to do so, but not something you want to wait on if you can. Ford driving in near the free throw line, the elbow off, and there's a foul on the play. Chad Fikema not happy about that one. He was jumping up and down over on the Raiders bench, so that's going to be the 3rd foul on Bernatz. Starting to get into concerning territory, but albeit there's only 4 minutes left in this one. Some space given to Ford, closed off by Bernatz. Trying to work his way in that high short corner. Another turnover forced by Kelvin Maher. He has just been a defensive threat, but he's likely going to turn it over there as they're going to call a jump ball. Had 3 players kind of scrambling for that one. Kind of looked like a football fumble like we might see at McNamara Stadium. Possession is going to go to Apple Valley. We know Apple Valley can get stuff done offensively. We've seen certainly flashes of it as we got a block in the restricted art. Two Raiders players just mobbing Kamara Young on that one. No hesitation, tried to use glass and airballed that one. Certainly, if you're the Raiders, you will take points to try to extend this lead, but time is also a factor as we'll get a three-point response from Isaiah Ford. Definitely not his first three-pointer of the night. Made more than a handful. As we'll take a look at the three-point shot. 3:15 to go here in regulation. Technically a two-possession lead. Again, Apple Valley looking for their first win on the season. If they don't win here, they're going to have to wait an entire week before they get back in action at home against Minneapolis Southwest. And then they'll go on the road December 20th at Lakeville South. They'll come back on Thursday, December 22 at Apple Valley versus Shakopee. And then that's going to do it for the 2022 season. They'll come back in 2023 on January 6th in a home game against Prior Lake. So they really are going to be cramming in their games towards the end of the season because they're going to have quite a few days in between games, probably for about the next 3 weeks. So certainly from their perspective, you don't want to sit on a loss for any longer than you have to. It's a game that is very close. Either team could win it here. Just depends on who's going to get hot at the right time. And crunch time is the right time. So smothering defensive pressure there from Apple Valley. Nearly forced a turnover down low. Trying to stay patient was Kyan Esterby. 5'9", a lot shorter than those forwards down low for Apple Valley. Ball went out of bounds. It's going to stay here with Hastings with the inbound from Burnatz. Connects on Maher down to Burnatz, and they're going to wave that one off and call a travel on the junior. Now just south of 3 minutes. Both teams with 2 timeouts. Ocharo weaving in just outside of the 3-point line. Pass back to Ocharo by way of Tizazu. Driving in along the baseline, the points and the foul. So successful transaction there for Young. And that's going to be foul number 4 on Burnatz. And this Raiders offense changes dramatically if Burnatz is not in the game. I mean, he's really been in the game the entire game, so they really don't want another foul for number 1 there. And he'll pull it back, get the reset at the logo, bounce past to Foss. Foss not wanting to hold that one. Burnatz, dead center. Offensive rebound almost taken by Foss. He tried to get his left hand under that one, and looks like they're going to get the foul on Foss. Lucas Foss, to be more specific. Spates back in the game. Cunningham there with the handoff to Ocharo. A collision some contact. The defender went early, and now we're going to get tied up here at 44 apiece. There's some patience there from the Apple Valley shooter. A three-point shot. Probably could have sat on that one. So now Apple Valley trying to take the lead, but it's going to be a traveling call. 89 seconds to go in regulation. Dare I jinx it and say maybe this goes to overtime? I know some people that don't want this to go to overtime. Well, we'll see if the Raiders can regain the lead and close this one out. Bernatz breaks his ankles, but he doesn't capitalize on it, passes it off. Offensive rebound. There's Foss giving it to Bernatz with the spin, and he puts the layup in. What a brilliant spin and offensive attack there from Owen Bernatz. It's like he hit the B button in Madden on that one. Now under 1 minute to go. Kamare Young. Newton defending. Jack up the shot. The rebound from Newton. He'll settle the ball down. The student section there, you can see it. They are ecstatic. Now it looks like we'll have Kellen Newton to the line. Very important if he can make these two. Obviously, a 1 point would be important here to make it a 3-point game, but if you can try to make it a 2-possession game, that's even better. And that one, just a crazy rim out there, so that's the worst case scenario for Hastings. Now Apple Valley trying to get a response going here. Don't have to rush anything. Charo, far side, driving in. And it looks like there will be a foul called on Hastings. And they're going to get Matthew Foss with the foul, going to be his second. Potential offensive rebound here is going to be massive if he could make these two. That's also massive for Apple Valley. Both teams now in the bonus. Hastings one away from the double bonus. Makes his first. Crucial free throw upcoming here for Apple Valley. And he sinks it. We're going to be all tied up here at 46 apiece. Both teams sitting on their 2 timeouts, it looks like. Young's going to check out of the game. Look at a full court press upcoming from Apple Valley with the inbound from Maher. Hastings could just hold on to the ball if they wanted and just try to get one final shot. In worst case scenario, it would just go to overtime, as we will get a timeout call from head coach Chad Fikema. 13.6 to go. Absolute thriller here. This is definitely the spot where you run your most favorite play. Whatever is your favorite play in the playbook, you're going to run it here. Game on the line. 1 possession if you want it to be. And for Apple Valley, you just got to figure out a way to stop them. But for Hastings, doesn't matter. Could be a 3-point shot if that's your favorite play. I have a funny feeling this play is probably going to involve Owen Bernatz and driving in the post. But any sort of points you can get, and this game is very likely going to be won by Hastings. If not, might be headed to overtime, might have just enough time for an Apple Valley response. All of the hard work thus far in this game likely coming down to this one here. We get the inbound from Matthew Foss. They'll take it in at the logo. Bounce pass. Nearly tipped away. Now Burnett's 5 seconds to go. They'll have to try to get something as they're going to fall down. And they'll call a foul. Apple Valley thought they were going to inbound the ball from the baseline. They thought that was going to be a turnover, but instead, there's 1.7 seconds on the clock. So in all likelihood, if you can just make one of two, that foul put Hastings in the double bonus, so they're going to get these 2 free throws regardless. If Burnett's can make one of them, they likely win the game, as they're going to call a timeout from Apple Valley and discuss what they're going to do after the free throw. However, they can, I suppose they could call we'll have one timeout remaining after this one. So the foul by Nati Tizazu puts them at 10, double bonus. A lot of pressure here on Owen Burnett's. He's been the leading scorer for this team. He's probably got at least half of the points for the Raiders tonight. And the Raiders are going to call on him once again to try to win this game. Friday night basketball, solid crowd in attendance, and it comes down to a moment like this. And it's times like this I really wish I had Reagan Hooverman on the broadcast, because I'd love to talk to him about the philosophy of a play like this. If Burnett makes the first free throw, do you just brick the second free throw really hard off the backboard and just kind of put it out into play to kill the remaining 1.7 seconds? But either way, both teams back on the court. Comes down to this. Burnett's crowd waiting with bated breath. And the first one rims out. And it all comes down to this one. And he misses it. Timeout called on the court. 1.3 to go. So now very, very little time to work with here for Apple Valley. It's going to be an inbound and a heave. There's no other way to do it. And if you're the Raiders, also very important not to foul on the shot coming here from Apple Valley, because that's going to send Apple Valley to the line. Probability of making 2 free throws obviously pretty high. So now both teams ready to resume play again. Just a shade over 1 second. Looks like we'll get the inbound here from Jaden Cunningham. And it's intercepted, put back up, and the Raiders win! We'll have to wait for an official call here. Oh, they might have called a travel. One of the most improbable ends to a game is just that, improbable, as they're going to wave that off. No video assisted replay or anything like that. This is not the FIFA World Cup, so whatever the referees say is whatever they say, but we'll take another look at the replay here. There's the inbound from Cunningham. Maher's just been so good defensively, and yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. We'll get a final half-court heave, and just like that, we're going to head to overtime. We'll stay here. 56-56. We'll take a look at that final sequence. Just perfectly timed. And I'm not Wilt Chamberlain. I'm not James Naismith, but I don't know how that's not a successful two-point shot and a win there for Hastings. But either way, we're going to overtime, so we'll get some more brilliant action here. 4 minutes put up on the clock. And we'd like to remind you of the next broadcast. It's going to be begrudgingly at 9 a.m. tomorrow here from Hastings High School. A wrestling triangular, the Raiders, the Waconia Wildcats, and the Forest Lake, I believe, Rangers. There we go. So you don't want to miss that one.
What is this, the replay show? Should be an uprising. Look pretty, like, how can you get too many steps?
So should be pretty interesting as well, because both teams have a couple of players in some significant foul trouble. Owen Burnatz, who's been getting it done all night for the Raiders, has 4 fouls. Cameron Hanna has 4 fouls. And so we'll get ready for overtime. Just want to mention that the graphic at the bottom is going to say we're in the second half. It's just because we don't have anything for overtime. So keep in mind, this is overtime, not the second half. It's coming straight from the scoreboard. So whatever the Raiders scoreboard puts up there, we have for our graphic. Apple Valley swinging the ball around. Taking their time there on this offensive possession. Again, no need to rush it here. Just making the Raiders go back and forth there. I don't know what they're looking for, getting the same result from that front three. And it's picked away, stolen, and blocked. So a great defensive play by the Raiders. Good defensive play by Apple Valley, but they're going to get a foul called. I think that was on Ocharo defending. So a chance for some points here. In the double bonus, it's Burnatz. Sinks that one. The Raiders now officially taking back the lead. Kamare Young now back in the game for Apple Valley. Certainly a player to watch. And Burnett's 1 for 2. Young with a little shuffle, gets it down for Spates. Spates in a sea of blue. Forward to Young. Another steal by Maher. This is just uncanny in the... Well, I'm going to call that an intentional foul by Kamare Young. He just kind of wraps the hand around him. I mean, Kelvin Maher, I mean, how many interceptions has he had tonight? Now he'll head to the line. Second foul on Young. And Maher, 2 for 2 at the line. 3-point lead. The hometown Hastings Raiders. Crowd really getting into it. I mean, it sounds like a stampede of Buffalo in here. Pass nearly out of bounds on Ford. That one tipped out of bounds off of Burnett's. So possession will stay here with Apple Valley. Spates now in the game. Sends the inbound in for Ocharo. Sees some space up the middle, puts up a runner, no good. Defensive rebound, Foss. And Cunningham just a little handsy on that one. Double bonus. Foss is going to head to the line. Fouls were a major issue for Apple Valley in the first half. They played a lot cleaner in the second half, but now here in overtime, kind of getting out of hand. That's going to be the 5th foul on Jaden Cunningham, so he will foul out of this one. And he'll go 1 for 2, but they'll take it. Now it's a 2-possession lead. Young trying to get back on the scoreboard. Tipped away from Foss, kept here by the Eagles. Ford pulling it back, leaves it off for Romello Spates. Nearly intercepted there by Burnett. Driving in down the baseline, gets the pass off for Tizazu. Shot off of the back iron. Rebound bobbling taken here by Matthew Foss. Underhanded pass to Burnett. Sends it back towards the center court logo. Pressing defense there from Young. Burnett puts the 2 points in, but it looks like they're going to get a charge there on Burnett. So they'll wave that one off. And that's going to be Burnett's 5th foul. And certainly the right call there. That was a charge. So Burnett's out of the game, so he's been getting it done for the Raiders, really carrying them along, but they're going to have to finish strong without their top player. A slippery move there from Eli Ocharo. Just windmilling his way through the Raiders defense, and now they're back to within 2. Take a look at the score here from Ocharo. Just a glossy finish on that one. Well, the Raiders don't technically need to score any more points, so they can just hold on to this lead, but so far as their offense is concerned, it'll be really interesting to see how it functions without big number 1 in there. Not to say other players aren't capable of scoring, but we just certainly haven't seen that type of volume from anybody else here tonight. Just a tick under 90 to go. Fantastic game here from Hastings High School on a Friday night. So back to the action, inbound here from the baseline. Maher brings it up down the court, kind of a feigning of a full court press there from Apple Valley. Maher trying to direct some traffic, gets it down for Newton. Off for Esterby, pulling it back towards the wing, defended by Ocharo, who scored the last bucket for Apple Valley. And it's going to be a timeout called by Hastings. Coach Fikema, maybe not liking what he sees out on the court, wants to talk it over. 20 seconds elapsing since the inbound, so points are obviously important for Apple Valley, but certainly time is also a factor for Apple Valley. Head coach David Collier trying to give some direction to his team. A pretty senior-laden team, a lot of seniors, some juniors, but the two best players for Apple Valley are freshman Joseph Mitchell and Kamare Young. So kind of an interesting roster composition for Apple Valley. Pretty young team for the Raiders. Lucas Foss, the sophomore, to inbound the ball. Sends it in for Weston Schultz. That's the first time we'll call his name tonight. And that's going to be a turnover. So now Apple Valley with a chance to respond here, tie this one up. Three-pointer would obviously take the lead. So Charo working his way in, tried to do what he did on the last basket, but just a little bit tougher on that one. Now the Raiders can kind of hold tight here a little bit. There's no need to rush it here. Esterby working his way in. Foss with a little shimmy, gives it out back for Esterby. Tizazu defending. We'll try to get a drive in here from Maher. Off to Esterby. They'll try to get the double team on Esterby. And a timeout called by Hastings to bail out Esterby. Again, any play or thing that drains down the clock is only going in the favor of Hastings. So they'll take that about 25-second drain right there. Only have to kill about 25 seconds more. Obviously easier said than done. Raiders in the double bonus. Could try to play keep away if they wanted, but it's been a relatively smothering defense by Apple Valley. Shot of the student section there, waiting to likely storm the court if Hastings wins. The game is definitely in the hands of Hastings. Whether or not they win or lose it is on them here. It's on Apple Valley to try to make a play here. Once again, we'll get Foss to inbound. Gets it in down the sidelines, back to Foss, over to Esterby. 20 seconds to go. Double team, they're going in on a triple team. And they just got to be smart here with the passing. Get a foul called on Apple Valley, so there's 11.5 seconds to go. Kelvin Maher at the line. If he makes one, the Raiders are sitting in a good position here. Neither team with any timeouts anymore. If he makes two, likely wins it. Makes his first. Of course, there's always a possibility of a 4-point play if Apple Valley responds with a three-pointer and the Raiders foul and they get the and one. So still, even a make here would technically be one possession, but either way, it's going to be a 4-point lead. They just got to play it. 10 seconds to go. Off in the corner, 3-point shot, back iron, offensive rebound, kept in space. Puts the shot up, and there's less than a second to go. I think an Apple Valley player is going to head to the line here. They're going to catch a foul on one of the Raiders. That's going to put Apple Valley in the double bonus, so they'll get both of these free throws with Romello Spates at the line. Misses his first one. That is huge. And he absolutely airballs the second. That's going to go out of bounds. Possession here for Hastings. Foss to inbound. And he does, and the Raiders win. The Raiders win this in overtime, 52-48. A thrilling game all around. They were down, they were up, and everywhere in between. And the Hastings Raiders pull it out in overtime on Friday night in front of this massive crowd. They advance to 2-1 on the season. Have a mini 2-game winning streak here. Apple Valley, conversely, falling to 0-4. They'll look for their first victory of the season a week from today against Minneapolis Southwest. As the Raiders get it done. They probably should have got it done in regulation. Questionable call in the final second. But they go to overtime and they pull it out. And they do it without their number one star, Owen Burnatz, on the court, fouled out about midway through overtime. But a thrilling result, as we'd like to thank Hunter Pinkey, Owen Ely, Ian Andrzejczyk, and Max Slocum. So again, the Raiders win 52-48 in overtime. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been HCTV Sports.